Hey, sister, sitting store, what am I about to preach on? Damn, sister, close the door. Watch what you step out on. I said, hey, sister, so before you become a sin, I said, hey, sister, there is more, even if you think there isn't. When you live your life day to day, there will always be obstacles in your way. But don't let that get you down, girl.
Aha.
Hello.
And I usually get to tell people, oh, the voice. Now I get to say, the face. Welcome, Miss Sophia Jackson, Madam SoJay.
Hello. How are you? I was like, the fact that we use that song, or that you.
Wait, what just happened? Oh no, we lost Sophia.
Oh no.
Can you guys hear and see me? Let's see what's going on here.
Are you?
That was weird. We're here.
Are we back?
We're back.
Okay. That's good though, because I didn't even know what I was gonna say next, so it gave me a minute to like compose. And I'm so grateful that you like that song, that you have made it it's just amazing. And you create things and you don't even know how it's going to go out into the world, how it's going to impact people. And so
Yeah.
this is like a testament to creating, like create. You have to put things out there because
It's true. You never know.
you never know.
Yeah. And I mean, I more than like the song. I seriously feel like if the song called me, like I was rocking out and jamming out to all your music on your SoundCloud, and I was playing Sentimental over and over and over. Like I would wake up singing Sentimental in the back of my head. And that was, that was my jam song for a good while. And then I finally got past that one because it was just had it on replay. And then I think when I bought the album, then I heard Hey Sister, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is everything I'm thinking in words to melody. It was, I don't know. It's like if you had a dream of your dream house and then you randomly walk into a house and you look around, you're like, this was the dream. That was it.
Oh my gosh, that is so, I don't even know what to say. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm so glad that you did that. And it was so funny because we were talking about lots of other non-song things. And then you mentioned that you said, I was like, oh, let me hear your music. And it was really just so poignant. And I think that just as you to piggyback on your encouragement to our creative souls out there, please, sometimes it may look as though right now, it's like you're putting it out there and you're doing all of this work and you're waiting for a return. And I can't tell you that Jay-Z is going to buy your beat for $1 million, but keep doing it. Like you have no idea.
Yeah.
You have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, you have no idea. And yeah, it might not be Jay-Z, but everybody's idea of success is different, right? And this is a success for me. Like I would never have thought that this song that I created would end up being the theme music for a movement, visionary women, and then also, cha-ching, honestly, by it being on the web and being in so many different places on so many platforms, thanks to you and HERstory and 2114, it's royalties because I'm getting streaming like, it's, I see that it gets tagged on YouTube, and it goes back to the place where, the CD baby who I published it with originally. So it's like having this thing, this pipeline that was set up years ago, and now it's there for things to kind of flow. So
Yeah.
you have to just put things out there, and then make sure you're putting things in place to support whatever it is that you're putting out there, so that when things happen, or if things happen, that it trickles back to you.
Exactly. And that's all about the strategy, right? Because, there's a lot of talk about passive income and multiple streams of income, but
Yep.
without the strategy to make sure that the river is actually flowing,
Absolutely.
Yeah. that work may not generate the income that it has the value and potential to generate, And so, yeah, you got to be like on top of your stuff and make sure that you have the guidance, you have the support, you have the people around you who be like, hey, make sure that you don't just randomly post, that you have this and this in place, right?
Absolutely. Passive
Yeah.
streams of income. Like, yeah, and I think we'll touch on that also, but it's, multiple streams, passive streams, having it set up. And so that it comes, because the thing is that currency. So I have this concept of, it's not just my concept, but I talk about it a lot. Currency, we are currency as individuals, because currency, money, however you want to call it, it doesn't get created unless we do something. So we are the creators of our currency. We are the creators of the money that we make. And it'll flow. So you create something, the currency will flow, but it will flow somewhere else. It won't flow to you if you don't have it set up properly.
Yes.
So, but currency gets created, especially for music and artists, especially for artists. Like, you can create something and money could be being generated and you don't even know it.
No, exactly.
And if you don't go out there and set the things up, it will flow, but it just won't flow to you.
Your way, exactly. Yeah, T. Harv Eker says that, one day he was out camping and he was under this tarp and the rain was pouring, and just beyond the tarp were like these big puddles of water. And he realized that, wealth and blessings and money and all of these things are just like rain. It's indiscriminate. It'll just fall. You just have to be not blocking it, and it'll go. And if it's blocked in one place, it'll just go somewhere else, And so when you create the opportunity now to go put a bucket out there, funnel it through and and get more of it, it's good. It's out there and it's freely available to all of us, but we do have to take the actions.
Yes.
We do need the steps that will, the
actions, because that analogy focuses on two things: the action and abundance.
Yes.
That it's there. It's there.
Yes. And you know what? Sometimes we, as visionary women, we find ourselves just working so hard. You know what I mean? Like, we just pushing and doing and pulling and prodding and all of this. And we kind of miss that part on the abundance is freely available, and because we're not in flow, because we're not really tapping into, okay, who we are, who we need to be, who we're choosing to be, how are we showing up? And, we get into that rut where it just becomes about busyness and not being about our business, and so.
Not about our business.
I know, right? I could just drop a beat and I'll like rap it for, I can't.
Dropping bars.
I can only pretend. But yes, Sophia, my dear, I've been really excited about our conversation today, and all the conversations that we have around mindset, around understanding that our own mentality is what helps us to create and generate this wealth and health and wellness around us. And being able to leave things for our generations to follow, being able to, again, create the structures for ourselves within our communities, within our circles. And I really want you to share a lot more, a little more, a bit more, some more with the people listening, about who you are, the journey you've been on, what has brought you here.
Wow, it's been so much, and like multiple stories happening simultaneously, right? So it's like, to hone in on one, I will start off by saying that it is like the pandemic, even though I don't even like to talk about it, I'm living my life like the
It's
pandemic.
golden.
Yes. Like it doesn't exist. Living my life like the pandemic
Yeah.
doesn't exist. Like, right. But my thrust into everything that I'm doing now kind of started with, I'm a youth worker, I'm a child and youth counselor. And I was working for the school board, Peel school board, and or am like working for the Peel school board. And we went for March break, and then we didn't come back, right? Because of the pandemic and lockdown,
Yeah.
and doing things virtually, checking in on families, making sure that our students had the tools that they needed, accessibility, to education. Now that you're not internet connections, like we talk about not equitable learning and being equitable in preparing. So I was part of that, and then I had my moments of, just I'll be very, candid and vulnerable as the 19 women who preceded me. I've been watching and just watching people being so vulnerable, and I went into like a state of, I don't know if it's depression. I'm not even sure I want to even say that word, but it impacted me in a way, messed with my mental.
Mm-hmm.
And then George Floyd happened,
Yeah.
and the school board is dealing with its
Mm-hmm.
anti-Black racism, all this stuff. And it just really hit me. And I was like, I need to do something different. And I started putting myself out there even more because I've, singer, songwriter, performer, blah, blah. I'm not afraid to put myself out there. And so I did it even more with streaming online and having conversations with people and really speaking about my passions, which are mental health, mental wellness, self-care, and how it's all connected to finance. So I'm a creative spirit, so I find creative ways to do everything that I do, and then I'm somebody who's resilient, trials and tribulations, and I find sometimes I thrive under pressure, which is a good thing and a bad thing. And then just ingenuity, how I just find ways. So that kind of wraps me up in a nutshell and kind of brings, where we are today. That's how I met you, by being out online and doing all these different things and connecting to my passions. Hmm.
On. I can't tell from here. It went totally blank. Everything is connected. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tracy, because we can't see anything. It went blank. Okay, there we go. Thank you, technology, for
Yeah.
doing your thing. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, my dear. So yeah, you're right. The unspoken word, has shifted us into this dependency on technology, and we can see what technology does to us sometimes. Okay, so Nadia is How am I frozen?
It's like I see you. You're not frozen for me, but yeah, it's like it's flipping back and forth.
Oh man, am I still frozen? I know, right? Yeah, Tracy. I know. I remember. Tracy was having a technology day yesterday too. So, guys, just let us know. Are we good? Are we good to go? Am I still frozen? Wait, you asked them, Sophia, because apparently they can see you.
All right. Yes. Is Nadia still frozen?
Let us know. Let us know. I need someone to be sentimental with me. Oh, good now. Awesome. Yo, your music, your music like really just gets into my bones. I don't know what it is. It just finds me in there. But yeah, we were talking before about, being able to recognize that intersectionality between all of these different things and allowing your genius to come out. Thank you, Tracy. Allowing your creativity to flow in all these different areas and aspects of your life, and how, despite a global pandemic, we would find ways to connect, to create community. We would find ways, to make sure that we don't isolate ourselves. And it is ingenious, right? It is ingenious for you to put things out there, like your music, like your coloring book, like your heart and your spirit, in 100 days of consecutive videos. It is massive, right? And it is something that is a blessing to so many of the rest of us who get to be a part of watching you on this journey of tapping into different sides of your creativity and unleashing, the creative juices that are naturally flowing there. And then to be able to sit down and have like really practical conversations on, here are creative ways for us to manage our money. Because we can't really talk about self-care when we're stressing out about, well, how much is this bubble bath gonna cost me?
Exactly. It's so true. I mean, that connection is priceless, and just being aware of it and being mindful about it and understanding how our lives and our money lives, our personal lives, our mental health, all of it, it's all interconnected. And like you said, the intersections of it. And then recognizing why we do the things that we do or don't do when it comes to our financial wellness and our financial health. And that comes back to our mental wellness and our mental health and mindset. Yes. And it's just so prevalent. If everybody who's listening currently or in the future, the one thing that I'm going to have to repeat this at the end too, is the one thing to walk away with is to understand your relationship and your connection with money, and then explore that in all the different ways that you can in order to be independent, financially independent, and just to to have your financial house in order. And it just spreads over in so many different aspects of your life, and to have them all in check. We do it in so many other areas of our lives that needs to be done in that place as well, with financial literacy, financial awareness, mental health. Oh my gosh. I'm actually sweating right now because I'm talking about it, and I just think it's so important.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I want everyone to even be able to tap into is that conversations about money should be as simple for us as women as conversations about our hairstyle and what clothes we're wearing and all the other things that it's assumed that we talk about, right? It's assumed that these are the things that women will focus on in conversation, but these conversations are just as real. Strategy, around our investment, strategy around the investment of all of our resources, our time, our creativity, our knowledge, our effort, our money, all of these different resources, really understanding how we put it out there and what that return on investment should be. How can we actually be able to predict things, right, based on past trends? So these are conversations that, me and Sophia sitting down so chill talking about, like we need to make sure that we have these streams. Okay, so what are you doing, Sophia? I'm doing this. What are you doing, Nadia? I'm doing that. And it should be just that natural and just that okay to have these conversations among ourselves as sisters, right? And I'm gonna pull out something that I don't think we've really talked about throughout this month, but within our community. So we have like multiple communities, Sophia, that you and I would both affiliate ourselves with. We're women of color. We're women of like a heritage, a Caribbean heritage. We have all these different spaces that we fit into. Let's talk a little bit about the lack of conversation about money and the emotions surrounding money in our, circles.
Yeah. Well, you touched on it a little bit. It's that taboo. It's like money and talking about your money is like you mind your business. You got to keep it close to your chest. You're not going to have those conversations, and you just kind of figure it out on your own. And I don't want the person next door to know what I have or what I don't have, or that stuff. And then the negativity around being potentially taken advantage of financially, and the fear around that. So we're talking about all of those things, and I know they're not unique to the Caribbean diaspora. I know it's not unique, but because of the historical context of where our ancestors coming from, having been money or a commodity,
right. A commodity, yeah.
And then the psychological and trauma that has gone through generation to generation around money and finance. It's unique in that experience for us based on that. So we just need to. So there's a lot of unpacking and a lot of work to be done, and I don't believe that it can be done like you have to unpack it from a mental health standpoint and trauma and generational first, and then take the actions. It needs to happen simultaneously, because time is of the essence. It has to happen now simultaneously. We got to deal with our ish while we're making money, while we're building currency, and kind of let our guard down, and feel comfortable enough to let your guard down enough to take the actions and find a financial professional, somebody who can help you, somebody who can. So I covered a lot of things there, but to come back to your point about the negativity and some of the stories that we tell ourselves in the Caribbean community, in a Black community around money and finance, and what we should and shouldn't do, and what we are, what's the word? What we deserve. What we're doing deserve. And we deserve to have the abundance. We deserve to be financially independent. We deserve to be able to pass down generational wealth, and not debt. Like, are you passing down debt, or are you going to be passing down wealth and assets?
Hear that? Oh, we hear that, yeah. And I think that simultaneous unlearning, relearning, and acting, is so crucial, because in wider conversations, we're recognizing that in terms of Well, for our businesses, for our nonprofits, for our organizations, for our families, there's so much of that we have to kind of repattern and reprogram. And then it affects the next generation. So whether it's our own children or children for whom we're responsible or the children within our community, we can't, we can't recommit to the old cycle, pretending to learn about the next stage. It has to happen all at the same time, right? And so we're helping the next generations to be able to program in a better way than we were able to be programmed, right? What did we know? We're figuring it out now, right? But at least now they can start off with very different conversations, So thank you about that, for sharing that with us. Now, this whole process, as a creative person who's analytical, as a businesswoman, as all of these different things wrapped up into one very beautiful ball, what in your opinion is the importance of vision as you go from one phase to the next and you deepen in your understanding and you expand your horizons? What is the importance of vision?
Oh, it's all the things that you just said. You have to be open to seeing, to having sight, to looking past what's happening right now into the future, and while simultaneously being mindful in the present, because the seeds that you're planting now are what are gonna help with that vision for the future.
Yes.
If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
And so it's important to just not be stagnant, to not thinking about what's coming next, not thinking about the future and the generations to come. Because if you're so there's I watch a lot of videos on self-help and development and being your best self and all of the things about finance, and like I take it in constantly. So you have to be very mindful about what you're feeding yourself, feeding your brain, right? And I heard this about family and how like all of the huge players are families. I don't even want to name them, but when you're thinking of a conglomerate or a multi-billion-dollar corporation, it has a family name attached to it for the most part. And when it comes to our community, that whole family dynamic, it's disjointed, generational, and where we need to bring it together. I mean, I know that that's not the case, and I don't want to perpetuate stereotypes and all of that stuff, because we are better than that. But there's been a lot of work put into deconstructing Black families, right? So we need to put the work into creating and building those, because that is what will stand the test of time, working together, having community, and then being, into the next generation. So we need.
No, it is so true. It's so true. I was a part of this. I've been a part of this group, and their mantra is "Build it for your last name." And again, it's about us from our community, and I mean, being able to tap into that, understanding that it's not necessarily all the same stream, right? It's not all from the Caribbean, all directly from Africa, all, you know what I mean? Like, we're all growing up in different places and we have so many different experiences. It's not a monolithic Black story, but the understanding that we now get to say, okay, hold on a minute. Now my last name was cut away and, I was given a new one and all of this, but from here now I can build something for my last name. I can hustle for my first name or I can build for my last name. That's the perspective. And to me, I really caught hold of that, that means of identity that I am empowered to build from here forward. You know, like you said, I deserve the wealth. You know, I deserve the happiness. I deserve the wellness, and I have the power to create it from here on out, you know?
And then
Um,
to protect it, because
yes.
you don't want to create it and then once you're gone, it's
Mhm.
it goes with you, or the things haven't been put in place, like we were talking about at the beginning, to have things in place to make sure that it gets transferred on properly
Yes.
to, because building it and then not having that in place is just, it's a shame, really.
Yeah.
So you need
Yeah.
to have your life insurance, you need to have your wills, you need to have your power of attorney, you need to have
Yes.
investments, like all of those things to protect whatever it is that you are building.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You got some tips there. Hope you guys are writing that down and that you're going to connect with Sophia if you want to go, you know, if you want to get more information there. She's already dropping you some big gold nuggets. So make sure you
Absolutely.
connect. Yeah. Now, in all of this, and you have this lovely voice that we've all been so fortunate to, you know, to participate in listening and feeling your vibe and your spirit coming through, and you know, this soulfulness that you've kind of poured through everything, right? Soulful coloring book and all of this stuff, right? It's like we really do feel like we connect with you. I do, at least I feel like I connect with you through your music and through your art and whatnot. Now, having such a powerful voice, has there ever been a point in time where you felt as though your voice was diminished or silenced?
Yes. Be being somebody who's I've always been pretty vocal and outspoken in everything I do, as a singer, songwriter, performer, as a child and youth counselor, as an entrepreneur, as a woman. But I've always felt like, so when for me, being silenced is not being able to feel like I can be as loud or as living out loud and as vocal as I want to be, so that I can be vocal, but only in small bites, that I can say what I want to say, but only in, it needs to be palatable, and I don't want to offend, or things like that. So it's like not being able to be my full self, and
Mhm.
that's how I've felt, growing up. Even the smallest thing, singing at home, and
Yeah.
I would sing all the time, and no, I'd be told, okay, Sophia, that's enough.
Mhm.
We're tired of hearing your voice. you know to being at the as a youth counselor, and having to have conversations about, like, for example, a parent saying that they feel that their child is experiencing reverse racism, and
Mhm.
I'm like, yo, reverse, that doesn't exist, like, but because it doesn't exist, but because of the superintendent and the teachers and the whatever, we need to give this voice, and I have to silence mine. I'm like,
Mhm.
no, so yeah, there's a lot of times where I don't feel like I have to be totally, like, luckily for me, I didn't feel like I have to be totally silent, but
Mhm.
I did feel like I needed to have certain levels
Right.
of silence.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there is diplomacy. There is, you know, like it's not a license to go be nasty and rude to people. That's not the, you know, but there
Mhm.
is a part of us that knows better.
Mhm.
And because the system that we're in isn't at the level of our knowledge, you know, we're then kind of forced to reformat and fit within that system, because rude is really just all about what's acceptable. And what's
Right.
acceptable is based on this current level of understanding. So if we are operating outside of that purview, we need to be able to give ourselves that permission, with that grace, with that diplomacy where necessary, to be able to just lay some truth, just drop some knowledge, you know?
Yeah.
And that's really this conversation that we've been having over the last few days. Oh, by the way, yesterday would have been the last day if this was 2019. I mean 2020, because 2020 we did 19 days. So this is like 2021, like today's like the fresh start, or like the extended version of HERstory. So, but over the past few days we've been having, thank you, having this conversation, and really just needing to remind ourselves that these systems are real. They really are out there. They really do exist. But you shared a video with me, and I'm not going to try to pretend to remember the guy's name, but I could drop a link below. But this guy, the South African guy, who talked about, you can have the excuse. It's a real excuse. It's a valid excuse. No one can take it from you, but you can have it, or you can have progress.
Right. And you can't have both.
Can't have both, right? You got to pick one or the other, right? And I think for us as women, we're really like tapping into that understanding that, the silencing, the intent to silence us is very real, but we also have a role to play in that as to where and how and when we allow our voice to be heard and to take its rightful place, Now, you're a writer, you're an author, you're a published author.
So good for my ego.
I know. I'm just gonna rub it in, and you just bask in it, right? Not only are you a published author, but you're a songwriter, which means you've actually taken the physical steps, and you've made it into really structured business of how to take your ideas and your stories and make them real for other people to participate in. Now, the story of Sophia, Sophia's life, Sophia's loves and hates and everything, all, the highs, the lows, everything that makes you who you are, all of the decisions that you've made, whether you've regretted them or you're so grateful that you made them, whatever that trajectory has been. How does it make you feel to hear that, like, you could take control of the narrative? You could write the version of your story that you want told. How does that make you feel?
Empowered, optimistic, and like nobody can take that away. Like nobody else can say different. I find that, and this is a reality for me more now, and then every day that passes, it just gets more solidified that I have the power to narrate my life and my story, and that's another powerful thing that I would want everybody else to be able to take away and to embody and make it their truth as well, because like even no, because like life beats at you, like there's so many negative things coming, and this is why it's so important to always have positive things coming in, because it needs to counteract all the negative. Yes. And if we allow that to live our lives for us, it's like a friend of mine says all the time to me that life happens, and he's not the only one. I mean, people say that all the time. Life happens. But are you going to let life happen to you, or are you going to happen to life?
To life.
Because you can have, things are going to happen, but you get up in the morning, you have an appointment that you need to get to that's very important to you. Your car breaks down. Is that the end of your day? Yeah. No. You get on the bus. You get on the bus, you call a friend, and you still fulfill that responsibility, that obligation for yourself, for the other people, to show up. And the key is that majority of people don't do that. Yeah. So it sets you apart. It makes you stand out. It puts you in a category that is, of its own. So, and that's a small thing, to just make the decision that you're not going to let whatever happens in life, because things happen, but you're not going to let that totally derail you. It might set you off a little bit, and it might take you down a little bit of a different path, but that you still need to show up and you still need to move forward and you still need to do what it is that you had set on doing and not let that take you off. And so that's the narrative for me. That's the thing that I keep telling myself day in, day out. How am I going to change how am I going to write my story? Mm-hmm. And that's come into play. So like, with the school board, with being an entrepreneur, the coloring book, the music, and nobody's going to tell me that I can't do all of those things and still be successful, because that's another thing. So you do so many things. You need to focus on one. And I was like, yeah, I need to focus on the one thing I'm doing when I'm doing it, and then I'm going to do this and focus on that as well, because there's just too much that I want to share and too much that I want to give and have that legacy and put my I am here stamp on the world. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the conversations we keep having as visionary women. This idea that the world is structured to tell us to do one thing only. And our lives are not structured for us to do one thing only. And our hearts are not impassioned to do one thing only. And so the question then becomes, okay, so that was a strategy. That was a great strategy. Is there another one?
It's so counterintuitive, because from a financial standpoint, put on my financial hat for a minute. We talk about diversification, multiple streams of income that you have to have, so how are you creating multiple streams of income if you don't have multiple things happening? Because you have, you're not getting multiple streams of income from one thing.
Exactly. And then there's so many of our visionary women whose many necessary simultaneous activities aren't necessarily even money generating. You have the homeschoolers who also run nonprofits, who also manage their own businesses. You have the caretakers who are taking care of, ill family members who also need to show up at work, but they need another stream of income because they also have to buy medication for this person that they're taking care of. You have all of these different roles and responsibilities that our visionary women are constantly filling in other people's lives all at the same time. And prioritization, at each next point is a lot more key, and that's more intrinsic to the Wonder Woman world, right? That we're part of, because we have to be able to then come and say, all right, balance is not going to happen. Balance is a myth, right? Balance, that's not here right now, but how can I generate harmony? Where do I need to give the high and the low to at this point in time? I'm talking to a musician, so you understand things like harmony, right? Like, what instrument do I want to hear more from this point to that point? And where do things have to still be able to flow? And I think that's a big question that our visionary women have felt unanswered in wider conversations on business and wider conversations on nonprofit management. And it's like parenting is over there and business is over there, and all these things are segregated, and you have to learn about them separately and implement them separately, but it's all one life, right? So we kind of need to have new conversations and new tools and new strategies that recognizes, I don't get to stop being a caretaker just because I go to work, because I'm at work and I'm thinking about the person that is at home that I need to go and change their meds or, change their sheets or whatever my help is at that point. This is a real part of me, and it's happening all at the same time. I have my different business ideas going on, and I have this much time to myself. How do I where do I start? What do I do first? Where do I pour in? All of that kind of stuff. So thank you.
How do you weave it? You have to, how do you weave it all in? Because as you're saying all those things, and you preface it with that they're not money generating, but they are things that suck money, like that require money. You know, being a caregiver, having to go to work where you might probably want to be home, and how to be able to facilitate having the currency and the income to do what you want to do when you want to do it. So if you are finding yourself that you have to go to work, you know, when you would really rather be at home, being able to put that time in and that effort and that energy and that care and that love with the person that needs you, what do you need to do to make sure that you can have the income that's going to support that, so that you don't have to be at work, you know?
Right. Exactly.
And that comes into, I have to say it again, insurance, and having the right types of insurance. You'd be amazed at some of the things that you can do if you have the right things in place and you do some research and have a professional who can sit down and be like, okay, you can, and leverage the systems and leverage all of that stuff. So because when I just, that's how I hear things now. You know, when I'm having conversations with people, and sometimes I have to silence that, right? Because it's not always appropriate to be like, oh, you just got into a car accident. Okay, well, do you have insurance? What if you had
place? Yes.
What if you had passed away? Are your children going to be taken care of? You know, and sometimes you have to be that that seemingly bad person, but it comes from such a caring place, you know, to know that there's things that are in place that are at your disposal, that you could utilize, that can protect you, can protect yourselves, protect your family. And just I feel like I kind of went off on a tangent there, but
but still a tangent full of knowledge. But hey, that's why we're chatting, right? We've been having these conversations, and we've been having so many different like golden nuggets all through the conversations as well.
That was it. It was the intersection. It's like the mental health, mental wellness, financial health, financial wellness, because all of those things, they all come together and they all cross over.
Yes, exactly. And when we are finally in that place of flow, you know, where the interconnections are not just present, but functioning, they were placed, you know, it's not just random things happening. We're not just running around like, you know, chicken without a head, as we would say, you know, like
just try and it'll work out. No, that doesn't work. You can't win the lottery and you're not even buying a ticket. So it has to be intentional. Sorry.
Exactly. So when we come to this place now where we are, at least we're aware of what we didn't know. By the way, I dropped your whole known unknown quadrants thing in one of these conversations we had earlier this week. So now that you're aware of your unknown unknown, right? Like you didn't even know that you didn't even know. Now you're in a different circle where you've been enlightened to that. And now you can start asking questions and seeking clarification, and you could, you know, seek more knowledge and whatnot. And you've gone through this whole process of connecting with your vision that has, you know, helped to drive you and shape you. You have connected with your voice, and you are the one who's deciding when, where, and how to use your voice, as opposed to some external individual or a structure or a system, etc. And you were empowered, and you're taking the action to, you know, decide on the narrative and the version of your own story that will be told. Then we're walking this life, this victorious life. What imagery comes to your mind when you hear of a word like victory?
Peace. Yeah, peace. Because I don't know, I don't think there needs to be a because, right? I think that's what we all want and strive for, is to be able to just be at peace with what we're doing, how we're living, how we're sharing, how we're growing, like just to be at peace with it, and being at peace with ourselves, being, you know, and the that journey for me, it's been a struggle, because I'm also telling myself that it's that fight with my inner self of, I don't deserve that peace, but then I do, of course, that I do. So I'm getting closer. I feel like I'm getting closer and closer, and then you have to recalibrate it, and because it's not a consistent thing, right? You'll have those moments of bliss, peace and bliss. That's the other one, bliss. HERstory is bliss.
Yes. Yes. Oh, my sisters. Well, I hope you will go deeper with us in these conversations on tapping into your peace and bliss. Sophia, let's tell the ladies about our event that we have coming up. We've been talking about it all month long. So let's tell them about what we'll be doing together for them and with them in April.
Yes, on April 16th, it's Hey Sister, Let's Color.
That's color.
An event that is about, we're going to be talking about is, one of the images from the coloring book, Soulful Color, and having a conversation, unpacking the image, unpacking the affirmation that'll be attached to that image, and seeing where the conversation goes. I think the last event I had something planned and I was able to execute it, but there was so many other things and value that was brought in from the other women on the call. It was just like a big coloring party, of being mindful and intentional and sharing. And I'm looking forward to that with oh my gosh, Divine Executive and of course 2114.
Yes. Yes, Divine Executive Concierge Inc. Yeah, we still got you. Divine Executive Concierge Inc. has put together our me gifts. So you can come out to the coloring event, but you can also get yourself a nice gift. And all right, I think we got you now. Now it's all super fuzzy. Yeah, no, now it's coming in super fuzzy. But I'll give you a sec to get the microphone on. But yeah, we have been so happy. We'll be talking to Marsha. We talked to Marsha a few days ago. And yeah, we will be able to not only color with the images that you could print off, your downloadable images, but you can get the whole book, and you can color before and after the event. Just remember to leave that page available. And also multicultural crayons. Am I right, Sophia? Multicultural crayons. All right, we're still having some microphone challenges over there. And coffee and tea, and a nice Himalayan lavender, did I have it right? Himalayan lavender candle. All handmade soy candle. It's really, really nice. So we want you to be able to connect with us, to unwind. It's been a crazy year, but this has been a really great time for us as visionary women to connect, get connected, stay connected, learn from one another, support one another, etc. And Sophia here is the one who leads our conversation based on her book that she has created, again, allowing her creativity to be a seed sown in the world and to just be able to set that tone. I think that's one of the big feedback that we got, Sophia. People really enjoyed the tone that you set, and that they felt really comfortable and that they could share. Although most of the women on the call didn't know one another before the call, everybody felt really good about that.
Yeah. It was a beautiful experience, and to be able to share and be shared with, which is important, inspiring and to be inspired. So I'm looking forward to doing that again, and so please do join us on the 16th, and we'll color together and
and go deeper.
and go deeper.
Yeah. And one of the things also that I want you guys to know, in case you haven't put all the puzzle pieces together, Sophia is one of our mastermind leaders with HERstory. And so every month you can join Sophia's mastermind. And again, we'll be having these deeper conversations on vision, voice, version, and victory throughout the year. And everything that we're doing this year is in collaboration with and in support of the Beautiful Foundation. This amazing nonprofit organization started here in Toronto. And with this, this amazing way of solving right now problems with right now, here and now love, with really practical ways of responding to the difficulties that women are facing today in their lives, and to come in and to say, hi, sister, I see you're beautiful, and I'm calling you out. We like to call one another out. How about we just start calling out the beautiful in one another, in Barbados, you say put them into place, right? So what if their place is a place where they hold and command beauty and respect, right? So why don't we take a shift on that and really look to call out that beautiful in one another and join the efforts and support the activities at the Beautiful Foundation? And just to let you know a few of the things that they do, they started off with the Beautiful Project, where they would go into the women's shelters and invite a few of the women to a day of pampering. They would, pick them up in a limousine and take them to get their hair done, their nails done, just pamper them for a day, have photographers come in and let them be able to capture that day. But then that grew into, okay, but now we need to have real conversations with the women that we are here. We're pouring out all of this love to them on this one day. We want to go deeper. We want to be able to help them so that they can have real long-lasting change in their lives. And then I get to sit down and talk to a woman who could say, yeah, I'm 3 years sober now, and this sobriety means that I've been able to finish university, something that I never thought I could do, would do, or deserve to do. I understand what it means to be completely lost in the shuffle, to feel completely forgotten, to feel completely overlooked, and to feel as though that is what I deserved. I had grown so accustomed to living the life of trauma. I can't tell you how many times I had been sexually assaulted. I've lost count because I was disconnected from my body and I didn't see a connection between myself, love, and my body. But now, working with the Beautiful Foundation, I do understand that I am valued and valuable, and that I'm allowed to enjoy this life that I have, not forget day to day what's going on, but to actually participate in creating goodness in my life and in the lives of others. These are the transformations that real women are experiencing through the work of the Beautiful Foundation. So that's what we're here for all year long, in support of this organization, our 2021 nonprofit partner. And we are so pleased and so happy. Sophia, do you have any final words of wisdom for our visionary women before we hop off?
I think just to reiterate what I had said earlier is to walk away from this conversation knowing that you have the power to narrate, to tell your own story, and that you are the currency that you need in your life. And that plays out through the mental health and the stories that you tell yourself, that's energy and that's currency, but then also the actual money and monetary that you can create and protect for yourselves, your family, and that is absolutely self-care.
Yes, absolutely. And again, you deserve it.
You
You
deserve it.
absolutely deserve it. Okay. So, my sisters, enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon. If you're watching us live, if you're watching us on the replay, just hashtag replay and let us know you're here. And more importantly, let us know what has resonated with you. And this is March, which means we have taken over the entire month, and we will be back here again tomorrow with another conversation with another sister, letting us know about her journey and her perspective on vision, voice, version, and victory. Sophia, thank you so very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Hey, sister, sitting store. What am I about to preach on? Damn, sister, close the door. Watch what you step out on. I said, hey, sister, so before you become a sin, I said, hey, sister, there is more, even if you think there isn't. When you live your life day to day, there will always be obstacles in your way.